Our program will begin shortly. We kindly ask that you please take your seats at this time. Thank you. Our program will begin shortly. We kindly ask that you please take your seats at this time. Thank you. Good morning and welcome. Today, Tuesday, March 31st, 2026, we gather at Cathedral International for a very special occasion, the Mundy Peterson celebration. As you find your seats and take in the atmosphere, we invite you to reflect on the powerful history rooted right here in Perth Amboy. In 1870, Thomas Mundy Peterson made history as the first African American to cast a vote under the 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution. That moment took place right here in our city, marking a turning point in our nation's journey toward equality and civic participation. This morning, we celebrate that legacy, a legacy of courage, progress, and the power of a single voice to create lasting change. This event is also part of Perth Amboy's 250th anniversary, honoring the people and moments that have shaped our nation across generations. We're glad you're here to be a part of this meaningful celebration. The program will begin shortly. Thank you for joining us. Our program will begin shortly. We kindly ask that you please take your seats at this time. Thank you. Our program will begin shortly. We kindly ask that you please take your seats at this time. Thank you. Our program will begin shortly. We kindly ask that you please take your seats at this time. Thank you. morning. Welcome and thank you for joining us as we come together to honor Thomas Mundy Peterson, a man whose place in history continues to shape not only our city, but our understanding of civic participation and equality. Today is more than a ceremony. It is a moment to remember, to reflect, and to recognize the legacy of the first Black man to vote under the protections of the 15th Amendment right here in Perth Amboy. We gather here in community to acknowledge the history and the responsibility we share in preserving it. And as we reflect on that history, we're reminded that the responsibility to participate, to engage, and to move forward together still belongs to all of us. It's meaningful to see so many residents, families, partners, and leaders here today. Your presence speaks to the importance of this moment. Moments like this don't happen on our own. They reflect the work, commitment, and partnership of many people coming together. We extend our sincere appreciation to Bishop Donald Hilliard Jr. and the Cathedral International staff for hosting us and for their partnership in bringing today's program to life. We also thank Mayor Helman J. Caba for his leadership and continued support on this commemoration. We're grateful to the Planning Committee whose work helped shape today's program. John Dyke, Dr. Juanita Wooten, Jeanette Perry Wilson, Deacon Valerie Trewick, Pastor Brian E. Major, Lauren Chambliss Hernandez, Pastor Seth Nix, and Reverend Dr. Fabian Villalobos, along with our city departments, including the Office of the Mayor, Human Services, Public Works, Recreation, Police, and St. Peter's Episcopal Church, where Thomas Mundy Peterson is laid to rest. We are also honored to be joined by state, county, and local officials, community partners, and most importantly, the family and descendants of Thomas Mundy Peterson. We are honored to have you here with us. And now, I'd like to introduce our MCs for today's program. Today's speakers have spent their lives and careers doing things together and doing them well. It's especially meaningful to have them here in this space where their journey of service began. Please join me in welcoming Jordan and Joelle Hernandez, proud members of Cathedral International and graduates of Loyola University, Maryland. Joelle went on to serve on Loyola's Board of Trustees, and today, both sisters serve on its Communications and Media Advisory Board. Their lifelong commitment to service truly sets them apart. Members of Cathedral International since childhood, they co-founded Little Souls, Inc., a nonprofit supporting children and families, and continue that work through organizations like Party with Purpose, raising funds for children's charities across New Jersey. Professionally, Jordan is the Director of Content Marketing at Citizen Relations, and Joelle is the Director of Marketing at the local Girl Media Group, where they've built strong careers in communications while staying deeply connected to their community. Jordan is also the founder of Completely Booked, a nationally recognized literary platform, where she has moderated conversations at major book festivals across the country. Together, they are co-founders of Double Dose Sweets and Treats, have been featured on national baking competitions, and are authors of children's books that reflect their creativity and commitment to storytelling. Their connection to this community and dedication to service make them the perfect guides for today's program. We're so glad they're here with us today.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. What a wonderful day it already is. And welcome to Thomas Mundy Peterson Day. My name is Jordan.
And I'm Joelle Hernandez.
And we are honored to serve as your MCs today. We have a great program in store for you for this 156th anniversary of this historic day. Before we go any further, please stand for the invocation, which will be led by the Reverend Dr. Pastor Michael Wilkerson Leach, and will be immediately followed by the singing of the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Cathedral's own Pastor Seth Nix.
Good morning. I stand in the stead of Bishop Donald Hilliard Jr., who is the senior pastor of Cathedral International. There was a death of a very close loved one. He was called upon to serve the family. And so certainly it is our honor to be able to host all of you today, to all of our dignitaries and to all of our clergy persons and to all of you who've pressed your way into this sanctuary. We simply want to welcome you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we gather today in reverence and gratitude as we remember and celebrate the life and the legacy of Thomas Mundy Peterson, a man of courage, dignity, strength, remembered as the first African American to exercise the sacred right to vote at an election held in this very city, the great city of Perth Amboy. Lord, we thank you for his life, for the doors he helped to open, for the hope he carried in a time when hope was hard to hold on to. And through his action, he stood not only for himself, but for generations yet to come, including us, Lord, reminding us that justice, though delayed, must never be denied. And as we open and continue this service, we ask for your presence among us. Fill this place, our nation, and our world with your love, and please send your peace. Guide our hearts as we reflect upon the sacrifices made, the progresses achieved, and the work that still lies ahead. And may this gathering inspire us to carry forward his legacy with courage and with faith. Let it be a moment of remembrance and reflection and of renewed commitment to justice and unity. And now, Lord, bless each person gathered in this sanctuary and online. And we place this service in your hands, trusting in your wisdom and your grace for your honor and for your glory alone. In the name of the Father, and the Son, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, amen.
Let's all say together, I pledge allegiance. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, the brave.
Amen.
I feel like that rendition needed amen at the end of it. I don't know.
When someone saves, sings the national anthem, right? It's just a little
It just
different.
hits different. Thank you so much, Pastor Leach and Pastor Seth. Before we go further, we would like to thank a few people for this opportunity and for making this wonderful day happen. First and foremost, we want to pause and give all honor and glory to God. Through him, all things are possible. We would like to acknowledge the shepherd of this house. Pastor Leach already acknowledged Bishop and Pastor Phyllis Hilliard in their absence. Of course, we would also like to thank our auntie, Pastor Michael Leach, and the entire cathedral leadership and cathedral family. Thank you for continuing to put Black history and the significance of days and moments like today at the forefront. We would also like to thank Mayor Kaba and the entire family of Thomas Mundy Peterson for keeping this legacy alive and allowing the next generation to be a part.
We would also like to thank Sister Jeanette Wilson Perry, our orator coach, since we were 8 years old. Thank you for including us today, Miss Lisette LeBron and the entire planning committee. Not sure exactly where she is right now, or up and around. Yes, definitely deserves a hand clap, and your work for making today possible has been extraordinary. And of course, a thank you to our parents, our mamas in the room today, for instilling us in the importance of community and legacy. Today, as you all know, we are here to honor the life and the legacy of Thomas Mundy Peterson, a trailblazer just by existing and daring to have his voice heard. As you heard in the video, as you were coming in and taking your seats, Mr. Mundy Peterson was encouraged by his employer to cast his vote, and he did so, but it was not without racism and hardship at the polls. As we were preparing for today, we were actually reflecting on our own experience voting for the first time, back in 2012. We were in college at Loyola University in Baltimore, Maryland, but we actually took a Greyhound bus home on the day of the 2012 election to be able to vote in person, as that was very important to us. We could only imagine what Mr. Mundy Peterson would think of two Black women having the resources to be in college, take a bus, and vote for the first Black president of the United States, who would go on to win a second time in a landslide. We thank Mr. Mundy Peterson for making this a reality for us and all other Black voters in this nation.
We encourage you as we move through today's program to reflect on your own voting experience and the experiences of our brothers and sisters voting today, and how we can uphold what he paved the way for us to do. Today, you'll hear from great leaders in our community to help commemorate this historic day and give honor to Mr. Mundy Peterson. Please take time to read your programs. There's great information about everyone that is going to be taking part in today's festivities. And we would like to start by learning more about the 15th Amendment that changed the law allowing Black people to vote. I believe there's going to be a video shown.
Yes, and we also do have a message from our bishop
yes.
as well, so we will do that. And I know we will also be joined, following those two things into our historical moment, we will be joined by the city historian of the city of Perth Amboy, Mr. John Dyke.
Celebrate the life of Thomas Mundy Peterson, first African-American to vote in the United States of America. We celebrate his courage and we celebrate his legacy today. I regret that I cannot be with you today. I am at the funeral of the Reverend Dr. Buster Sorey's mother, and I have to be there. But we are well covered here at the sanctuary, at the cathedral, and we honor God that you chose us to have this service. God bless you.
the 15th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
Perth Amboy, New Jersey, a city where history was made. On March 31st, 1870, Thomas Mundy Peterson cast a ballot that would forever change the course of American democracy. Today, we honor his courage, legacy, and the continued impact of his first vote. To fully appreciate the importance of Thomas Mundy Peterson's role in our nation's story, we turn to the archives and the voice of our city historian, who brings his journey to life through historical records, photos, and documents.
Like every Perth Amboyan, Thomas Mundy Peterson would be well aware of his town's infamous reputation as a major slave port. During the 17th and 18th centuries, enslaved people are imported via ship from Barbados and Montserrat, as well as directly from Africa. Originally, these slaves worked the agricultural fields and supplied the hard labor required to build the colony of New Jersey. In 1762, the construction of the proprietary house commences. Slaves are brought in to level the ground, set the brownstone foundation, and haul bricks. 100 years later, Thomas Mundy Peterson's mother, Lucy, is employed here. Every household in colonial Perth Amboy has slaves, with many as personal servants. Here, an advertisement posts a reward for a runaway enslaved servant named Violet, who is noted for being very clever. In lieu of traveling north, Violet escapes to Virginia in order to elude the search by her Perth Amboy master. There is some hope. Thomas Bartow and his young student William Dunlap are both abolitionists. That is, they are among the first in Perth Amboy to believe that slavery is wrong. Bartow is the Surveyor General for the East Jersey proprietors, and he keeps no slaves. Dunlap frees his slaves and urges others to do the same. Within this house, during 1820, a child named Daphne is born into slavery. Her master, Andrew Bell, eventually frees Daphne, and Bell also wills her an inheritance. By 1844, Daphne marries Thomas Mundy Peterson. Near the western border of Perth Amboy, the Eagleswood Phalanx is completed in 1854. This community brings the new transcendentalist ideals to Perth Amboy and becomes the main station of the Underground Railroad. Located on the banks of the old Raritan River, the Eagleswood community transports enslaved people to freedom by means of wagon, boat, and railroad. Thomas Mundy Peterson is well aware of the past and present. Perth Amboy is his hometown. This is the environment Peterson lives in, a country where his race is enslaved, and a civil war brings the issue of slavery to the forefront. This is Thomas Mundy Peterson's Perth Amboy. from the Parker Castle to the hay scales, to the church spires, to the docks. Near the end of the Civil War, the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution ends slavery. The 14th Amendment requires due process before any rights can be taken away. And the 15th Amendment allows voting rights to all men regardless of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. On March 30th, 1870, the 15th Amendment becomes the law of the land. This is the Kearney Cottage, the place where Peterson is working on March 31st, 1870. James Lawrence Kearney, a descendant of slave owners and also an Eagleswood alumni, urges Peterson to go to City Hall and vote. A special election is being held for the town charter, and Kearney receives word about the 15th Amendment. City Hall Circle is a hub of activity. On his way to vote at City Hall, Marcus Spring, co-founder of Eagleswood, meets Peterson near the circle. Like Kearney, Spring urges Peterson to vote. The building on the right is City Hall, the way it appeared in 1870. Since 1718, Perth Amboy has enjoyed a city charter, which is the law that governs the town. Now, the citizens must decide whether to eliminate this charter or simply revise it. Peterson votes for a revised charter, which is also the majority tally for this election. In doing so, Thomas Mundy Peterson becomes the first African American to vote under the 15th Amendment. At the end of that faithful day of March 31st, 1870, Peterson walks up High Street to his home on Commerce Lane. This is the Hugh Ramsey Mansion, and partially hidden on the side is the Thomas Mundy Peterson homestead in its only known image. Peterson continues to do handyman work around his hometown of Perth Amboy. Here is a small payment made out to Thomas Mundy for work on City Hall. While areas around the country put up roadblocks for black voters, the city of Perth Amboy does not. Not only does Perth Amboy encourage black voters, but in 1884 they give Peterson a gold medal for being the first to do so. As a man of integrity, Peterson requests the city officials to check the voting records of all states in order to determine that he was actually the first. The officials do so, and the results all favor Peterson. Peterson is active in civic affairs, running for town council, serving on juries and committees. Around town, Peterson is known as a fine citizen and a good man. Thomas Mundy Peterson dies in 1904 and is buried in St. Peter's Church Cemetery. His story reminds us of the importance of voting, and we can continue to honor him by never taking for granted our own right to vote in each and every election.
History isn't just remembered, it's carried forward by those who live its legacy. Here, members of Thomas Mundy Peterson's family share personal reflections on what his life and impact mean to them today.
My name is Elizabeth Howard Greggs. As one of the descendants of Thomas Mundy Peterson, thank you for making this tribute truly special and sharing the special day with family. Whenever I vote, I take this commemorative token with me as a reminder of the courage it took for him to cast his historic vote.
Hi, my name is Dawn Greggs, and I am proud to say that I am a descendant of Thomas Mundy Peterson. If he were here today, he would be so proud of our youth because they go out and vote. You don't have to twist their arm. They aren't scared. They do it because they know the importance of voting. I tell everyone I know about Thomas Mundy Peterson and Thomas Mundy Peterson Day. So all I can say is I am proud to say he is my uncle.
Hearing the name Thomas Mundy Peterson brings me so much pride, so much joy to know that I am part of a legacy that means so much to so many people. If he was here today, I'm sure he'd be dismayed about the things that are going on in society, but will say to those who are fighting, keep fighting. Know your value, know your worth. Your vote counts, your voice counts. We are important. We all have value.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Dr. Juanita Wooten, and I am so happy to be a part of this moment to celebrate the legacy of Thomas Mundy Peterson. He was my maternal great-grandfather's uncle, and it was 155 years ago today that he cast his vote. If he were alive at this moment, I think he would tell us to remain encouraged, to not give up, to stay strong, and to continue to vote and to fight for what is right. I thank you, and you have a blessed day.
You gave me my hand.
Over the years, the city of Perth Amboy has honored Peterson's legacy through school programs, community gatherings, and public celebrations. A powerful reminder of the unity and pride his story inspires.
I can hear your voice so clear. I can hear the cry of the sinner man, but cannot wipe away.
His legacy continues to resonate in the words of today's leaders. Hear from Mayor Kaba and state and local officials as they reflect on the importance of preserving Peterson's memory for generations to come.
The legacy of Thomas Mundy Peterson, steeped in courage, honor, justice, hope, continues to inspire each and every one of us. His actions have altered our political landscape, granting freedoms that have reshaped our society. He rests here, St. Peter's, among New Jersey's oldest gravestones, symbolizing our community's rich history. His exercise of the right to vote is a legacy we cherish and commit to uphold. In 1884, Perth Amboy honored Thomas with a medal for his groundbreaking vote. We celebrate his legacy and the supportive community that championed his right to vote. Today is a call to action to maintain a robust spirit of democracy, confront injustice, and promote equality.
Thomas Mundy Peterson, the namesake of our beautiful county park, dedicated his life to civic engagement and was the first African-American man to cast a vote under the 15th Amendment of the Constitution. Thomas Mundy Peterson is remembered for his activism in the Perth Amboy community, helping to shape the city's education system at the time and assisting in the construction of Perth Amboy's first public school. Thomas Mundy Peterson represents the hope for a better future, the honor of working for the public good, and most importantly, exemplified our country's continuous evolution towards justice and equality for all. I am proud to share my hometown with Thomas Mundy Peterson.
Perth Amboy
rallied around Mr. Peterson back then in 1870. And after his historic vote, he was appointed to the Perth Amboy Charter Revision Committee. They embraced what he did, and he helped shape the future of this great city, as well as our state and our country.
Thomas Mundy Peterson was the first. And we don't get to have 100,000 black voters, or 1 million black voters, or 10 million black voters, or 50 million black voters, unless it is the first voter. And he was the one who set the standard. He's the one who had the courage, not only to do it, but to stand up for it and to embrace it during his entire life.
Absolutely incredible to hear the story and life and legacy of Thomas Mundy Peterson. As we mentioned before, we're going to move into the historical section of today's program, but we do want to acknowledge a few things that are happening today and a few folks that are here. So the pins that we have on, I believe, are available in the back, and these are replicas of the coin that was mentioned in the video that the family takes to commemorate the memory of Thomas Mundy Peterson. So there's opportunities for you to receive commemorative items from today. Yes, and a few people that we would like to acknowledge. Of course, we will acknowledge more throughout today's program, but a few folks that are in attendance are the New Jersey Historical Commission, the Black Heritage Trail, the Amistad Commission, County Clerk Pinkin, and various NAACP chapters, including Perth Amboy, Metuchen, Edison, and Piscataway. So please give a round of applause, and thank you so much for being in attendance with us today. Yes, we also would like to acknowledge Dr. Eloise Samuels, who is the founder and CEO of the New Jersey Orators Union Chapter, and we have some Union Chapter coaches. We have Valinda Herjano, lead coach, and Shellen and Ernesto Small, assistant coaches. So thank you for being here today. Now we would like to invite up Mr. John Dyke, his city historian from the city of Perth Amboy, who will be followed by a few other folks during today's historical section. Thank you.
All right, nice crowd. Happy Thomas Mundy Peterson Day. All right. I'd like to recognize a few people. We have some of our seniors from Olive Street, and we have Perth Amboy High School students in the house. All right, thank you. I hope you enjoyed my film documentary about Thomas Mundy Peterson. Today we are gathered here to celebrate and honor the anniversary of Thomas Mundy Peterson's historic vote. Historians know that Thomas Mundy Peterson voted in each and every election, and that voting was very important to him. The 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution allowed black men to vote, including those that were previously enslaved. However, during his lifetime, Thomas Mundy Peterson witnessed the disenfranchisement of his race. Thomas Mundy Peterson saw state constitutions being changed. During the latter 19th century, some states enacted laws that required a poll tax, which voters had to pay 2 years before the election. This placed a difficult burden on many poor African Americans in the South. Many could not afford to pay a poll tax. Other states enacted a literacy test. This test required a person seeking to register to vote to read a section of that state's constitution and explain the complex section to the county clerk. That clerk would then decide if that person would be allowed to vote or not. And finally, there was the grandfather clause. If your grandfather was permitted to vote before the Civil War, then you would be permitted to vote. Being only a few decades after the Civil War, this grandfather clause only benefited white citizens to the exclusion of black voters. Now, as a historian, I am always worried about history repeating itself. Unfortunately, right now, voting rights are under attack. Yeah. If the current United States congressional proposals passed, then millions of voters would be disenfranchised. Please, let us demand our elected officials maintain the integrity of our current voting laws. Let us do this to further honor Thomas Mundy Peterson's legacy. And each of us who is registered to vote, be sure to do so. Thomas Mundy Peterson knew that voting is not just a right, it is a sacred duty. Thank you and God bless. Now, some of you know that I've had discussions regarding archaeology on the Thomas Mundy Peterson homestead site. It is my pleasure to introduce the registered professional archaeologist that will be leading that forthcoming excavation. He is the Senior Director of Cultural Resources from the PS&S Group. Let us give a warm Perth Amboy welcome to Matthew Tommaso.
Thank you. There you go. Thank you, John. Wow, that's a lot of light. I'm afraid I'm not as polished a speaker as a lot of the folks that you've heard from, so I'm just going to put together some thoughts for you. I had been thinking about what I would say at this event for quite a while now, and having met many of you before the event actually started this morning, I just want to say I'm aware that I'm going to be preaching to the choir. A lot of kindred spirits here in the room, and I want to express my gratitude to your community for the invitation to come and speak with you briefly about the work that we are doing, that we're currently doing, and will be doing in the future at the Thomas Mundy Peterson homestead. So let me get the big question out of the way first. We actually have found the location, not just through documentary research, but through archaeological research, in the form of a Phase 1 archaeological survey where Thomas Mundy Peterson's house was. We have located the foundation of that house. So our research, Mr. Dyke's research, and Gordon Bond's research has been vindicated. The foundation is exactly where it's supposed to be. So knowing that and having good engineering information about how it relates to the development that will be coming in the future in that area, we now can proceed with moving on to the next several phases of work that will have to take place. Included in that will be a complete archaeological survey at what we call the Phase 2 level, which will evaluate that site for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. And I already have a commitment from my client, the sponsor of the project and the developer, that all of the artifacts that will be excavated during that excavation, during that investigation, will be repatriated to the city of Perth Amboy. Thank you. And there will be a mitigation in the form of a sign. We're also talking about the possibility of helping to develop some school curriculum to further the knowledge of young folks about Thomas Mundy Peterson and his legacy. So I hope that's all good news for all of you. And now I'm going to get to the part of the conversation that I had prepared before I got here, which again, it's going to be a little bit of preaching to the choir. So I got into archaeology mainly because of an interest in understanding aspects of history that were never written down. And as a lot of the folks in the audience know, particularly my new friend Dorothy, who I spoke with for the first time this morning, there is a lot of American history that is not written down in books. It's not recorded in tax records, not recorded in land records. And it takes literally a lot of digging to get at that. The interest that I had was not to basically combat official histories or written histories, but to illustrate and enhance our knowledge on the basis of that. Archaeology has the ability to do that by creating a direct relationship between objects, landscapes, buildings, and people from the past right into the present. Because a lot of what people have left behind in the past tells a story that is nuanced very differently from the written record. Anybody who's interested in African American history in particular knows this story. In particular, during the antebellum period in the years after the Civil War and during the Civil War, many of the most interesting and impactful and important aspects of Black heritage in this country were very, very secretive. I've had the privilege recently of working on a very important Underground Railroad site in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Some of you may have seen some press coverage in the Philadelphia Inquirer about that. And I am finding this area of interest to be absolutely fascinating and something that I hope our communities can come together and work toward collaboratively to better understand. So I really haven't got much more to say about myself. I am very, very happy and privileged to be here today, to meet all of you folks, and feeling very, very grateful for the fact that I have the opportunity to work on this project with you. So thanks very much.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to both Mr. John Dyke and Mr. Matthew Tommaso. Now we're going to move into our civic leadership remarks. We have quite a few people that we're going to hear from this afternoon, morning. We're almost 7 minutes away from afternoon. Almost afternoon. We have a few people here, so we are going to introduce Dr. Dale G. Caldwell, the Lieutenant Governor of the state of New Jersey.
Yes.
Who would also like to recognize as the first African-American male Lieutenant Governor. Yes. We also have Assembly Speaker Craig J. Coughlin, the new Assembly Speaker, New Jersey General Assembly, 19th Legislative District. Followed by Mayor Jonathan M. Bush of the Borough of Metuchen. And then we will also have a proclamation from Mayor Kaba, Mayor of the City of Perth Amboy. So you hear from everyone in that order. We just ask all of our speakers if you can, we have a note from the tech team, if you can just stand directly behind the podium when you speak. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? What an amazing day. I have the honor of being Lieutenant Governor, but also the Secretary of State in New Jersey. A lot of people don't know what the Secretary of State does, but I'm the Chief Election Officer. So today, as an African-American man, is very, very special for me. But also we oversee tourism, we oversee the archives and the history and the steel for the state of New Jersey. And so it is amazing. And so we've been in the job a little over 2 months. How much beautiful history we have in this great state of New Jersey. And this history, as the first person to vote after the 15th Amendment, is really global history. It's not just New Jersey history, not just national history, but it's incredibly important. As many of you know, my dad knew and marched arm in arm with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., so I've always been a fan of history, and especially Black history. And so I've actually founded 5 Black Halls of Fame, which are online. The inventors, the entrepreneurs, the educators, the authors, and the Tennis Hall of Fame. And the reason I call them Halls of Fame is that so often our history has been forgotten. And when you have a Hall of Fame, it's remembered permanently. And I encourage other groups to do this type of Hall of Fame. So this is encouraging me to do an election Hall of Fame or something along those lines. And so as we look at Thomas Mundy Peterson, March 31st, 1870, it's important for us to really understand how does that relate to today. You know, we're dealing at a time, as you heard earlier, where voting rights are being challenged, where people are being discouraged from voting, where everyone doesn't have this right of suffrage. And so often people forget that people died for that. Men and women died for the opportunity to vote for people. And so one of the things we're making sure, and I have an incredible election team there from the Secretary of State, is to make sure the elections are fair, the elections are safe, and that we are encouraging everybody to come out and exercise their right of suffrage. But we need your help. I love seeing the young people here today as well. And so we need your help in educating people about the importance of voting. And I think Thomas Mundy Peterson is someone, maybe we need to create a Peterson curriculum to really let people analyze issues and analyze candidates and begin to think about this really sacred right as Americans. And so I'm here to really celebrate this, but I also want to remind, and you heard in the wonderful videos, but I think it's important to read the key components of the 15th Amendment. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. That's and so often it's important for us to remember that history. And so we also are overseeing and working with the New Jersey Black Heritage Trail. And so we have a trail marker that reads as follows. On March 31st, 1870, Perth Amboy resident Thomas Mundy Peterson, 1824 to 1904, cast a historic vote in Perth Amboy City Hall, making him the first African American to vote following the adoption of the 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Let's just give that another applause. So I will end by asking your support to really make this voting history known, to really encourage people to vote, and to know that the state of New Jersey is making sure that voting is safe, voting is encouraged, voting is an important right that all citizens have in the state of New Jersey. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Let's have another round of applause for the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of New Jersey. Thank you, everyone. What a privilege it is to be here this year and every year as we remember Thomas Mundy Peterson and the immense contribution he made to the world. It's also fun to be here. I was telling the family before, it's been a while since I've been here. In fact, I was like 6. It was used to be a movie theater, and I saw my first movie here in this building. Mary Poppins, in case you're wondering. So I'm older than I look. At least that's what I tell everybody. But it is a privilege to be with all of you, to be here. Thank everybody for coming out. I want to especially thank my running mate, my colleague, my friend, a daughter of Perth Amboy, Yvonne Lopez, my assembly colleague from the 19th District. I think she was mentioned before, but Nancy Pinkin, our county clerk, is also with us today. So thank you, Nancy, for being here, and thank you, Yvonne. And to all of you. We're entering our 250th year this year as a nation, and it's fitting, I think, that we rise up the legacy of Thomas Mundy Peterson, because his story is not just history. It's the story of liberty itself and the early promise of a multiracial democracy. There was work to be done, though. Nearly 90 years after the revolution for freedom from England ended, we were, after a long overdue freedom was earned through the bloody Civil War. And after that was the short-lived Reconstruction period, which granted black men the right to vote. Women were going to have to wait decades more to come. And just one day after the 15th Amendment was ratified, Thomas Mundy Peterson cast the first vote of a black man under that amendment's authority, which is remarkable. What's also notable is that New Jersey had not ratified that constitutional amendment at the time Thomas Mundy Peterson voted. It had passed, but we hadn't done that. New Jersey has a pretty checkered history in terms of ratifying Constitution and moving civil rights forward. We didn't pass the 13th or 14th Amendment for some time. Then I think we repealed it. John will correct me when I'm wrong. And then went finally back ahead and passed it. So what what Thomas did was so special. He seized the opportunity. In fact, it wasn't without objection. He's reported that the person in front of him, or one of the people who were voting with him, was so angry that he had the right to vote that they tore up their ballot, which is incredibly stupid. At least if you're going to vote the opposite way of Thomas, right? I mean, if you did, you're just losing a chance to count out your vote. But those unfortunate stains on our history allowed him to do something truly historic, truly monumental. Think about being the first person of your race to ever vote in the history of the United States of America. What an incredible, incredible thing that is. And it wasn't without courage, as we said. He encountered resistance. But as oftentimes happens, a person who is given the opportunity to do something monumental is held to a higher standard. So, as John pointed out in his documentary, Thomas was recognized as a good man, as an honorable man, as somebody to be looked up for. And he had to be. The standard was higher for him. Think of Jackie Robinson in baseball. He had to do everything that the other players did, only he had to be a good guy despite all of the things that happened to him. So Thomas Mundy had those qualities. He ran for office, he served on juries, he did things far beyond voting to set the standard for all who came after him. And that was a remarkable accomplishment. It was a moment that told New Jersey that part of the unfinished work of democracy still had to be carried on. And the community here in Perth Amboy largely rallied around him. We saw some of the people in the documentary who encouraged him to vote, and so he did, and participate in society. It reminds us that the right to vote has never been abstract. It's always been claimed, step by step, by ordinary people willing to do extraordinary things, and that's who Thomas Mundy Peterson was, and that's what he did. Now, I'm a lifelong member, a resident of Middlesex County, and I couldn't be prouder of the history that happened right here. And a speaker, I get often to think about the honor of the legacy that he left. Perth Amboy, one of the most remarkably historic communities in our state. You know, yeah, let's give a big round of applause for Perth Amboy. Second oldest continually operating city hall, the New Jersey version. The New Jersey replica of the Liberty Bell sits in City Circle. Each state officially gets one. And by the way, if you want to do something really cool, on 4th of July at 2 o'clock, come to City Circle. Folks will read the Declaration of Independence and ring the bell as was required by the statute. It is a remarkable place, and he was a remarkable man. So all of those things came together. And if that were the end of the story, it would be terrific. But it's not. As I said, New Jersey has a slow history of embracing civil rights when it came particularly to black people and women. So we need to be reminded of that, and we need to not let ourselves forget that struggles continue. As John pointed out, I think the Lieutenant Governor pointed out, we face real challenges today. Today. The government in Washington, led by our president, would do away with so many of those voting rights that we cherish so much. In New Jersey, we're different. We passed last week in the legislature, both the Assembly and the Senate, passed out a bill to do just the opposite, to stand up for our voting rights, to codify for all of us. And so together we come together to celebrate Thomas Mundy Peterson. We come together to celebrate what he did. And we come together to remember what challenges we face and to commit to one another our continued determination to make sure that voting rights are never, ever undermined in our great nation. They are the very essence of what makes us great. They are the very essence of what is our democracy. And so stand up, loud and proud whenever you can. Make sure your voice is heard, and be like Thomas Mundy Peterson, who changed the world by standing up for the vote. I have with me a resolution which commemorates, of course, Thomas Mundy Peterson and all that he did. And I'm going to take a moment to present it to the family. I'm going to ask my running mate, Yvonne, to join me. So on behalf of all of us in the legislature, we all agree that Thomas Mundy Peterson is somebody special, somebody to be remembered, and to be thanked for his great contribution. So, wait, Yvonne, we'll go down there. Why don't we go down by the family? We can go down by there. All right. This is live TV, ladies and gentlemen. This is how it happens. Thank you all for letting me be with you today. It's my privilege. And I'll turn over the microphone to my friend, Mayor Jonathan Bush from Metuchen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Metuchen Mayor Jonathan Bush, and what an honor it is to be here with you, and happy Thomas Mundy Peterson Day to all of you. I want to thank Mayor Kaba for his generous, continued cooperative relationship that we have. In addition to being just a great guy, takes the relationship between Perth Amboy and Metuchen quite seriously as it relates to Thomas Mundy Peterson. You know, as America approaches its 250th anniversary, many of us, and it's been referenced in prior discussion here, find ourselves at somewhat of an inflection point. You take a step back and you reflect on who we are, what we stand for, and how we got here. And it's especially meaningful to do that in a place like Perth Amboy, home of some of the most significant events in American history. New Jersey ratified the Bill of Rights with the state legislature meeting just about a quarter mile from here in what is now City Hall. And decades later, on this very day, as we all know, in 1870, Perth Amboy became the setting for another defining moment in our national story. Thomas Mundy Peterson, a man born in Metuchen, came to Perth Amboy, worked in Perth Amboy, lived in Perth Amboy, and cast a vote that marked a first in American history, the first African American to vote under the newly enacted 15th Amendment, at a time when the Constitution had long promised equality, but had not yet delivered it. And that act began the process, or continued the process, of closing that gap. He was born in 1824. He lived through the Civil War. He witnessed the abolition of slavery across the nation. He experienced Reconstruction and the unraveling of so much of its promise. And on this day, he exercised a right that had been denied to him and to so many others for generations. But it wasn't a quiet or universally accepted moment. We know that as Peterson cast his vote, a white man in that same polling place, it said, upon seeing him vote, ripped up his own ballot and declared the process worthless because a black man was allowed to participate. But as was pointed out by prior speakers, that's part of the story here. This type of opposition is what makes Peterson's action so significant. He stepped into resistance, an act without precedent, in a young nation still deciding whether it would live up to its own words. He voted anyway. Progress doesn't arrive on its own.
It depends on people who are willing to act, even when the path forward is risky, uncertain, and that's exactly what happened right here in Perth Amboy. This moment will always connect our communities. Peterson's story begins in Metuchen and it reaches its defining moment in Perth Amboy, linking our municipalities through one of the most important and often overlooked acts by a citizen in our American story. That connection reminds us that the American story moves across communities like ours, and it's shaped by moments like these. Over the course of his lifetime, Peterson watched his country take a significant step toward closing that gap I referenced between promise and practice. And that's not just history. It's an inspiring reminder of how this kind of progress happens and what our system requires of all of us. Because democracy is not just a self-sustaining thing. It depends on participation, as the Lieutenant Governor said. It depends on engagement and on a shared understanding that what we all do, individually, collectively, it matters. Thomas Mundy Peterson showed us what that looks like, and as we approach 250 years as a nation, we are not just inheritors of that history. In Metuchen, in Perth Amboy, in New Jersey, and across America, we're collectively responsible for deciding whether this country lives up to the values it claims as its foundation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. God bless each and every one of you. It's really special to be here today and to see so many people come together for this special moment. Thank you to all of you. So many beautiful people here today. We have from our youth, from our Middlesex County STEM school, to our beautiful seniors, all different age groups here for this special moment. And you can feel what this moment really means just by being in this beautiful space. Walking in here today and seeing the exhibits, the stories laid out from the first vote to where it happened, to where his legacy lives today. It reminds you that this isn't distant history. This happened right here in our beautiful city of Perth Amboy. And we're not just telling this story today. Across our beautiful city, there are places that continue to honor that legacy. From St. Peter's Episcopal Church to the Thomas Mundy Peterson marker right in front of City Hall. A marker we installed and unveiled during Perth Amboy Day in partnership with the New Jersey Historical Commission. These are reminders every day of what happened here. We already heard the history, and we understand why today matters. What stands out to me is the effort behind this. Moments like this don't just happen. Before we go any further, I want to recognize those who helped bring us here together. Dorothy Cardi Daniels, Anna Daly, and Gordon Bond, whose work documenting this history has helped ensure it's not lost. Thank you. Their efforts laid the foundation for what we are able to do here today. I also want to recognize the Thomas Mundy Peterson Day Planning Committee. Absolutely. This kind of program takes time, it takes care, and a real commitment to getting it right, and it really shows. So to the Planning Committee, thank you for bringing each and every one of us here today, together for one great cause. For me, being part of today is something I take seriously. As mayor, you hope to be part of moments like this that bring people together and reflect on who we are as a city. This is one of those moments. This is part of our history. This is part of our story. And it's something we carry with us in how we move forward together. This didn't just happen on its own. It took partnership from Middlesex County, and I want to recognize our commissioner, our county commissioner, Charles Kenny, that's back here. Thank you for always being here. Thank you to all the commissioners, our city council, to our historians in Perth Amboy, the county, statewide, our advocates, and community partners like the Cathedral International. We're especially grateful to Middlesex County, not only for their partnership, but for their continued support of the arts and culture, and for helping move forward efforts like the Thomas Mundy Peterson Park right here in the city of Perth Amboy. Today, I have the honor of presenting the proclamation on behalf of the city of Perth Amboy. A proclamation may seem simple, but it reflects on what we choose to recognize and what we commit to carrying forward. And this one means a great deal. Today is about honoring and continuing this legacy, this moment, making sure this story lives on in how we teach, in how we lead, in how we show up as a community together. Thank you. Once again, I'm proud to be here with each and every one of you. God bless you all. And at this moment, I want to present another proclamation. I seem to do it every year to the family of the Thomas Mundy Peterson. I'll go to you. But yes, just to make it easier. But once again, like I mentioned, this proclamation means a lot. And you have my word. As long as I'm mayor, we're going to continue celebrating Thomas Mundy Peterson. Thank you.
One more round of applause for Mayor Kaba. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we move on in the program, there are some groups of people that we want to acknowledge that are in the room today. The Perth Amboy Council on Aging, thank you so much for being here today. Our Cathedral seniors, if anyone is able to stand from the Council on Aging, our Cathedral seniors, our Wisdom Warriors, we know that we would not be standing here without those who have come before us, and we are so happy to have them as living legacies here with us. So thank you so much for the Council on Aging as well as our Cathedral seniors for being present this afternoon. Yes, and as Mayor Kaba said, we have people here from all ages, so we also would like to acknowledge the Perth Amboy High School students. If you all would please stand. We're told that this is the World History AP class, Advanced History class. Yes, AP class led by Miss Renaud. We also have the Perth Amboy STEM Charter School, and Dr. Sarkin is here today. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. And know that you are the next generation. As Mayor Kaba said, it is up to us to continue on in Mr. Mundy Peterson's legacy. So you all, us included, we're not that much older than you, but for you all to continue on his legacy, particularly here in Perth Amboy. So thank you for being present with us today. As we know, today's program has taken us through history and leadership, and now something just as important, the voices that carry this legacy forward. Because history is not only preserved in records or archives, as we learned from our archaeologists here, it lives through people, through families, and through the ways we choose to tell it. So we have quite a few people who we're going to hear from this afternoon for our Voices of Legacy and Community section. First, we will hear from Dr. Juanita C. Wooten, the descendant of Thomas Mundy Peterson, directly followed by Micah Perry, who is a New Jersey orator, and we're going to share a little bit more about both of them. Dr. Juanita Wooten, we are honored to hear from you today. She is a direct descendant of Thomas Mundy Peterson, whose work continues to ensure that history is not only remembered, but understood and shared. And then for directly following Dr. Wooten, we're going to hear from Micah Perry. Micah is a 5-year member of the New Jersey Orators, a 41-year-old nonprofit youth organization that teaches the art of public speaking and appreciation for literature and reading literacy, supported by the volunteer coaches at 15 chapters throughout 9 counties here in New Jersey. Micah has actively participated in the annual fall and spring statewide competitions, receiving multiple awards of excellence and honors based on various presentations he has made. He has been requested to join in several community events where he has participated in oratorical workshops for both youth and adult attendees. Micah is an active member at Union Catholic High School. He is a graduating senior who has obtained honor roll status and wants to specialize in aviation technology. So please join us in welcoming Dr. Wooten and Micah Perry.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just giving honor to God and His glory for bringing us here today safely and bringing us here to celebrate a moment filled with purpose, gratitude, and community. To Mayor Kaba, Lieutenant Governor of Caldwell, and all the officials and dignitaries joining us today, I thank you for being here. To Bishop Hilliard, Pastor Nix, Pastor Leeks, and members of the congregation of Cathedral International Church, thank you for partnering with us today on this memorable occasion. To all the family, friends, and guests, a warm welcome to you. As we are aware, this year, America will be celebrating its semi-quincentennial on July 4th, marking the 250th anniversary of the United States Declaration of Independence.
As we saw in 1776, Africans were still being transported to the shores of America and to these ports right here in Perth Amboy and sold as slaves. Black people were still being traded and held in servitude until they gained full independence in June 1865. Now we know the 13th Amendment was passed, the Proclamation was passed at that time as well, but we recognize it at what is now known as Juneteenth, the 19th of June. This brief reflection captures only a portion of our expansive African American history, a history too often erased from textbooks, museum exhibits, public spaces, and classroom discussions. For this reason, occasions such as today are invaluable, reminding us of the narratives that must be preserved and honored. Today, we are gathered to celebrate the legacy of Thomas Henry Mundy Peterson, born in 1824 to Thomas Henry Peterson Sr. and Lucy Green in Metuchen, New Jersey. He later moved to Perth Amboy, where he remained until his death. On March 31st, 1870, he took advantage of an opportunity presented to him by exercising his right to vote. He became, as we heard, the first African American to cast his vote after the ratification of the 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution at the Perth Amboy City Hall. His action was not only an individual act, but a communal one. It required courage, community support, and protection. Thomas Mundy Peterson was known around town as a laborer, and as Mr. Dyke would say, we might call him today an independent contractor. He had many jobs. And he was civically engaged in his community. He served as a juror and ran for political office. As we reflect on his legacy, my family and I are always reminded of the responsibility we carry. As descendants of Thomas Mundy Peterson, who was my maternal great-grandfather's uncle, we are the promise of his dream for a better tomorrow. Who are we not to vote or to be of service to others? We acknowledge that his unselfish act opened doors for many others in this community and beyond. As an educator, I feel it is especially important for students to be present at this event because so much of this history is not taught in schools. We did not learn about Thomas Mundy Peterson and his legacy in school, but at home. Being here to witness this event today, I hope you will remain curious and continue learning about the significance of this moment. As we all must remember, to vote is to have a voice in your community, in your state, and in this country. Exercise your right by getting involved and by voting in all elections. Your vote determines who will advocate for you and who will help pass bills and laws that protect your rights. Across America, we are witnessing the consequences of poor voter turnout in the last presidential election. Too many people expressed disdain for the candidates or believed a particular candidate had their best interest at heart. Although we cannot tell anyone who to vote for, we just urge you to show up and vote. As mentioned earlier, today our voting rights are under attack. Proposals requiring burdensome documentation and eliminating mail-in ballots are being introduced. These efforts are purposely designed to silence our voices, but we will not be silenced. Take your stand, show up, and vote. On behalf of my family, we want to thank you for joining us today in this commemorative moment. We thank the mayor's office, Lizette and the planning committee, all the volunteers, Mr. John Dyke, Jeanette Perry Wilson, Father Fabian, the St. Peter's Episcopal Church, all the performers, and everyone who contributed to this day. Thank you, and God bless you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Micah Perry, and I'm a proud member of the Union Chapter of the New Jersey Orders. I'm also a graduating senior student at JVJ STEM Academy in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And upon graduation, I'll be heading to the United States Marine Corps with a focus of aviation studies. Before I begin my speech, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge Lieutenant Governor Dr. Dale G. Caldwell, Congressman Frank Pallone, Mayor Helman Kaba, Bishop and Pastor Phyllis Hilliard, Pastor Michael Leach, and I want to say thank you to Thomas Mundy Peterson Day Committee, and especially the Thomas Mundy Peterson family for this opportunity to honor Mr. Peterson. Lastly, I'm thankful to our New Jersey Orders President, Dr. Eloise Samuels, for her leadership and continued dedication to motivating young students like me. Ladies and gentlemen, the focus of my speech today is on having the courage and responsibility to protect our democracy, like Thomas Mundy Peterson, a Perth Amboy native. So without further ado, here is the expanding promise of democracy. In 1776, the United States made a bold and revolutionary promise that all people are created equal and that the government exists to serve the people. But the truth is, that promise was not meant for everyone at the time. It was an idea, powerful, inspiring, but unfinished. Over the next 250 years, Americans have worked to turn that idea into reality. One of those Americans was Thomas Mundy Peterson. In 1870, in New Jersey, to be specific, Perth Amboy, New Jersey, he became the first African American to vote under the 15th Amendment. His vote was more than just a ballot. It was a powerful step forward for democracy in America. Imagine the courage it took to step forward in a time of deep division and claim a right that had long been denied. His vote was not just personal, it was national, and it sent a message across the country that democracy was growing, that it could include more voices, more people, and more hope. And the story didn't stop there. Women fought for decades before winning the right to vote in 1920. Civil rights activists marched, protested, and sacrificed to pass the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Each generation pushed the boundaries for democracy a little further, reminding us that freedom is not automatic. It must be protected and expanded. Now, as we approach the 250th anniversary of the United States, we are a part of that story. Democracy is not just something we learn in textbooks. It is something we live. And even as teenagers, we have the power and the responsibility to strengthen it. So what does that look like? It means starting at home, having respectful conversations, listening to different opinions, and learning how to think critically about the world around us. It means showing leadership at school, joining student government, organizing service projects, or simply standing up for someone who is being treated unfairly. It means being a positive influence among our peers, encouraging others to stay informed, to care about issues, and to use their voices. And it means serving our communities, volunteering, helping neighbors, and taking part in local events that bring people together. These actions may seem small, but they are the foundation of a strong democracy. Every conversation, every act of courage, every choice to get involved, it all matters. Thomas Mundy Peterson didn't wait for someone else to act. He stepped forward. And because of people like him, the promise of 1776 became a little more real. The story of America is still being written. Like Thomas Mundy Peterson, each of us has the power to shape its next chapter. Now, it is our turn. As the next generation, we are not just inheriting democracy, we are shaping it. The question is not whether we are too young to make a difference. The question is whether we are ready to accept responsibility. Because the future of democracy is not just in the hands of leaders, it is in ours. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Have a great afternoon.
Excellent, Micah. Thank you so much. And thank you, as he mentioned, to the orator coaches and the chapters that are represented here today. That is a skill that will never go out of style. And I'm so happy and so proud of the students that are here today. To add two more students that we will be hearing from this afternoon, we do have two Perth Amboy High School students joining us today, Emmanuel Ellison and Juliana Fuentes, who will share an essay. And they will be directly followed by Aaliyah Pierce. We will invite her to the stage right after them, a poet in resident at the State Theater here in New Jersey. An award-winning poet, National Geographic explorer, and Fulbright scholar, Aaliyah's work brings together storytelling, history, and cultural expression, amplifying voices and connecting past and present. So help me welcome Emmanuel Ellison, Juliana Fuentes, followed by Aaliyah Pierce.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I just want to say, on behalf of Perth Amboy High School, it is an honor to be here celebrating Thomas Mundy Peterson. Imagine it's 1870. It's a chilly Tuesday morning in March right here in Perth Amboy. A 45-year-old school custodian named Thomas Mundy Peterson wakes up and realizes that for the first time in his life, the law finally matches his dignity. Just 24 hours earlier, the 15th Amendment was officially certified, declaring that the right to vote could no longer be denied based on race. For nearly a century, the promise of we, the people, was an incomplete one. While many in the country were still debating if this was even possible, Tommy Peterson didn't wait. He walked to City Hall, the oldest one in the country, and he became the first African American in history to drop a ballot into the box under his new law. It wasn't a presidential race. It was a local vote about whether to revise the city charter, but that didn't make it small. It was so significant that some people in the crowd were furious. One man even ripped up his own ballot in protest because he couldn't stand to share the booth with a black man. But Thomas didn't blink. He voted yes for the charter's revisions, and he won. He was later appointed to the Committee of 7 that actually helped rewrite our city's laws. For the rest of his life, he wore a gold medal given to him by this city, a medal with Abraham Lincoln's face on it to remind everyone that he was a pioneer. He was a handyman, a school custodian, and a citizen who understood that the right to vote is the most fundamental power a person can hold in a democracy. He didn't just vote and walk away. He stayed active, serving on the committee that revised the city charter and as a delegate to political conventions, proving that the first vote was only the beginning of a lifetime of service.
So why does this matter to the students of today? Sometimes we feel like history is something that happened to other people in other places. But Thomas Mundy Peterson proves that change starts exactly where you are standing. He wasn't a senator or a general. He was a man with a job and a family who decided that his voice mattered. To the students here today, Thomas's legacy is a challenge to us. He fought for a right that many today take for granted. He teaches us that 1, you don't have to be famous to be historic. You just have to show up. 2, your community is your canvas. He started by changing Perth Amboy and ended up changing America. The vote is a superpower. It is the one place where every single person is equal. As we celebrate Thomas Mundy Peterson Day, let's not just remember a name. Let's remember a man who was brave enough to be first. Let's honor him by promising that when it's our turn, we won't just stand on the sidelines. We will be the ones making history. Let's carry his spirit with us. Let's remember that our voices matter, our votes matter, and that the path to a more perfect union started with one man in one town making his mark. Today, as we celebrate Thomas Mundy Peterson Day, we aren't just looking at a statue or a name on a plaque. We are looking at a legacy of courage. Please join me in celebrating that legacy of Thomas Mundy Peterson. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here. My name is Aaliyah Pierce, and I am also an alum of the New Jersey Orators, so talk about full circle here. Today, I'll be reciting an original poem. I am thankful and honored to be the poet in residence at the State Theater of New Jersey. This is year 3 for me, and I hope you enjoy. If you feel any inkling to give some energy, if you want to snap, if you want to clap, if you want to say yes, feel free to do that. I am named after the mountaintop. I am a mountain of a woman. I stall storms with just my standing, like Peterson stood at the ballot box, unmoved by wind, unbent by history's weight. I come from a long line of hunters. I come from healers, readers, teachers. I come from a group of serious black women who know sun, seed, and soil like the blue vein map on the back of hands. Women who have stitched together the patterns of language long time, and men who stitched freedom into constitutional fabric thread by thread, vote by vote, name by name. This is a poem about the hallelujah in a long-running reckoning. It is about the celebration of that special kind of mud, fire, and water that blossom black folk. I am daughter, a daughter of the dust that be so big you can see me from space. I am a true sister of this sapphire sea. I am volcanic, a blessing whether I burn or I birth. I am the fire. I am the deep rumble, the drum, the freedom, the same freedom that echoed through Perth Amboy, March 31st, 1870, when one man's X became a nation's exodus. I am a child of Caribbean cane fields. I am history, a story too loud for just one page in a book. This poem is about speaking names. It is about honoring the magnificence of black bodies and how black bodies rose from Amendment 15 like phoenixes, and how Peterson's hand was steady as mountains, his vote a stone rolled away from democracy's tomb. I am captain, I am lighthouse, returning hope to its proper home. I am home, I am gladiator, I am the Colosseum ruins. I still stand after years of battle. I am hope, I am courage. You see, this poem is about the return. It is about homemaking and how every ancestor wanted their children's to remember the day constitutional ink flowed like water. I am black girl, black bird, caged bird now free, free like the 15th Amendment cracked open the cage door. I am caged bird, voice singing from the top of the mountain. This poem is about excavating names. It is about speaking names into a better tomorrow, speaking Peterson's name like a key unlocking doors that were bolted shut. It is about how can we do better than yesterday. It is about not repeating the past. I am love. Love on fire. I am fire in the belly. I am girl freedom dancing around that fire, so I became the fire. I am fire. A blessing whether I burn or I am bright. I am the healing. This poem is about reimagining unfathomable black futures in the face of violence, in the face of uncertainty, in the face of servitude. I am the mountain. I am named after the mountaintop. I am a mountain of a woman. I stall storms with just my standing. You see, we are not alone. This poem is about how we deserve to be held, to have soft lives with moments of rest, to be given roses, not for resilience, but for our ancestors' existence. For the man who carried Amendment 15 in his bones, who walked to that schoolhouse like Moses to the mountaintop. For every name that was slave becoming registered voter. This is a poem about liberation for all. This poem is about liberation for all, a reclaiming of our humanity. This poem is folklore and tradition, ancestors calling on spirits who spit patois about freedom dreaming. Peterson calling from 1870 saying, I did this for you. I walked so you could run. I voted so you could voice. This poem is about the importance of stories. This is a poem about liberation for all, about the hallelujah in a long-running reckoning. It is about the celebration of that special kind of mud, fire, and water, that blossom black folk, the same fire that burned in his chest, the same water of baptism and rebirth. This poem is about speaking names. Thomas Mundy Peterson, say it with me. Thomas Mundy Peterson, say it with me. Thomas Mundy Peterson, say it with me one more time. Thomas Mundy Peterson. Thank you.
Amen. Excellent. Let's hear it one more time for Emmanuel, Juliana, and Aaliyah. And as we continue to move along in today's program, we're going to move from spoken word into rhythm. Another powerful way history and culture are carried and shared. Throughout the program today, you've seen them in the beginning of today's program, and then they are here to do another drum performance. Right now we have Victor Marshall and the Cathedral's very own Deacon Phil Easton and the hand and drum ensemble performing, and we would like to thank them so much for their service.
Thank you again for your service, incredible. So as we continue on in the program and we near the end of today, we've moved through history, leadership, expression, and what remains is not just what we've heard, but what we all continue to carry forward from it. So at this time, we do ask that everyone will join us in a moment of silence. We will reflect on those who came before us, those who fought, who sacrificed, and stood with courage so that the right vote can be realized and protected. We honor not only their struggle, but their belief in a future they would not fully see, yet possible for generations to come, including all of us here today. And as we stand here, we recognize that their legacy lives on in each of us, and our responsibility to participate, to protect, and to carry forward the rights they helped us secure. Let us please have a moment of silence. Thank you. We will now invite Pastor Seth Nix back up to join us and lead us in the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you, Pastor Seth. At this time, we would like to invite the Reverend Dr. Fabian Villalobos, Rector of St. Peter's Episcopal Church, the final resting place of Thomas Mundy Peterson, to offer the benediction.
Gracious God, we acknowledge this day the determination and sincere desire of Thomas Mundy Peterson to participate in the civic life of his city, the city of Peramboy, and of his country, while exercising his duty as American citizen. We pray today for our democracy system, and particularly for those whose rights are restricted and denied. Help us to recognize that as stewards of your creation, we are responsible for the welfare and dignity of all people. Give us the courage to pursue justice and work together for a better society where all are loved and accepted. Sustained by your mercy, assist us to become peacemakers that share your compassion by your grace.
La paz de Dios, que excede a todo entendimiento, guarde sus corazones y mentes en el conocimiento y amor de Dios y de su Hijo Jesucristo nuestro Señor. The peace of God which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God and of His Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you and remain with you today and always. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being with us here today. As we leave here, we carry more than what we've heard. We carry a responsibility. The story of Thomas Mundy Peterson is not just history. It's a reminder of what is possible when people choose to participate, to stand up, and to be heard. We encourage you to take a moment to reflect on what today means for you, how you engage, how you show up, and how you help carry this legacy forward in your own way. Whether through civic participation, community involvement, or simply sharing the story, each of us has a role to play. We do invite you to continue the day with us at a reception at the Family Life Center, which is directly across the street. Trolley service will follow for the wreath ceremony at the St. Peter's Episcopal Church. Thank you again for being here today and being part of this historic moment. God bless and travel safely.
Perth Amboy, New Jersey, a city where history was made. On March 31st, 1870, Thomas Mundy Peterson cast a ballot that would forever change the course of American democracy. Today, we honor his courage, legacy, and the continued impact of his first vote. To fully appreciate the importance of Thomas Mundy Peterson's role in our nation's story, we turn to the archives and the voice of our city historian, who brings his journey to life through historical records, photos, and documents.
Like every Perth Amboyan, Thomas Mundy Peterson would be well aware of his town's infamous reputation as a major slave port. During the 17th and 18th centuries, enslaved people are imported via ship from Barbados and Montserrat, as well as directly from Africa. Originally, these slaves worked the agricultural fields and supplied the hard labor required to build the colony of New Jersey. In 1762, the construction of the proprietary house commences. Slaves are brought in to level the ground, set the brownstone foundation, and haul bricks. 100 years later, Thomas Mundy Peterson's mother, Lucy, is employed here. Every household in colonial Perth Amboy has slaves, with many as personal servants. Here, an advertisement posts a reward for a runaway enslaved servant named Violet, who is noted for being very clever. In lieu of traveling north, Violet escapes to Virginia in order to elude the search by her Perth Amboy master. There is some hope. Thomas Bartow and his young student William Dunlap are both abolitionists. That is, they are among the first in Perth Amboy to believe that slavery is wrong. Bartow is the Surveyor General for the East Jersey proprietors, and he keeps no slaves. Dunlap frees his slaves and urges others to do the same. Within this house, during 1820, a child named Daphne is born into slavery. Her master, Andrew Bell, eventually frees Daphne, and Belle also wills her an inheritance. By 1844, Daphne marries Thomas Mundy Peterson. Near the western border of Perth Amboy, the Eagleswood Phalanx is completed in 1854. This community brings the new transcendentalist ideals to Perth Amboy and becomes the main station of the Underground Railroad. Located on the banks of the old Raritan River, the Eagleswood community transports enslaved people to freedom by means of wagon, boat, and railroad. Thomas Mundy Peterson is well aware of the past and present. Perth Amboy is his hometown. This is the environment Peterson lives in, a country where his race is enslaved, and a civil war brings the issue of slavery to the forefront. This is Thomas Mundy Peterson's Perth Amboy. From the Parker Castle, to the hay scales, to the church spires, to the docks. Near the end of the Civil War, the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution ends slavery. The 14th Amendment requires due process before any rights can be taken away. And the 15th Amendment allows voting rights to all men regardless of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. On March 30th, 1870, the 15th Amendment becomes the law of the land. This is the Kearney Cottage, the place where Peterson is working on March 31st, 1870. James Lawrence Kearney, a descendant of slave owners and also an Eagleswood alumni, urges Peterson to go to City Hall and vote. A special election is being held for the town charter, and Kearney receives word about the 15th Amendment. City Hall Circle is a hub of activity. On his way to vote at City Hall, Marcus Spring, co-founder of Eagleswood, meets Peterson near the circle. Like Kearney, Spring urges Peterson to vote. The building on the right is City Hall, the way it appeared in 1870. Since 1718, Perth Amboy has enjoyed a city charter, which is the law that governs the town. Now, the citizens must decide whether to eliminate this charter or simply revise it. Peterson votes for a revised charter, which is also the majority tally for this election. In doing so, Thomas Mundy Peterson becomes the first African American to vote under the 15th Amendment. At the end of that faithful day of March 31st, 1870, Peterson walks up High Street to his home on Commerce Lane. This is the Hugh Ramsey Mansion, and partially hidden on the side is the Thomas Mundy Peterson homestead in its only known image. Peterson continues to do handyman work around his hometown of Perth Amboy. Here is a small payment made out to Thomas Mundy for work on City Hall. While areas around the country put up roadblocks for black voters, the city of Perth Amboy does not. Not only does Perth Amboy encourage black voters, but in 1884 they give Peterson a gold medal for being the first to do so. As a man of integrity, Peterson requests the city officials to check the voting records of all states in order to determine that he was actually the first. The officials do so, and the results all favor Peterson. Peterson is active in civic affairs, running for town council, serving on juries and committees. Around town, Peterson is known as a fine citizen and a good man. Thomas Mundy Peterson dies in 1904 and is buried in St. Peter's Church Cemetery. His story reminds us of the importance of voting And we can continue to honor him by never taking for granted our own right to vote in each and every election.
History isn't just remembered, it's carried forward by those who live its legacy. Here, members of Thomas Mundy Peterson's family share personal reflections on what his life and impact mean to them today.
My name is Elizabeth Howell Greggs. As one of the descendants of Thomas Mundy Peterson, thank you for making this tribute truly special and sharing the special day with the family. Whenever I vote, I take this commemorative token with me as a reminder of the courage it took for him to cast his historic vote.
Hi, my name is Dawn Greggs, and I am proud to say that I am a descendant of Thomas Mundy Peterson. If he were here today, he would be so proud of our youth because they go out and vote. You don't have to twist their arm. They aren't scared. They do it because they know the importance of voting. I tell everyone I know about Thomas Mundy Peterson and Thomas Mundy Peterson Day. So all I can say is I am proud to say he is my uncle.
Hearing the name Thomas Mundy Peterson brings me so much pride, so much joy to know that I am part of a legacy that means so much to so many people. If he was here today, I'm sure he'd be dismayed about the things that are going on in society, but will say to those who are fighting, keep fighting. Know your value, know your worth. Your vote counts, your voice counts. We are important. We all have value.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Juanita Wooten, and I am so happy to be a part of this moment to celebrate the legacy of Thomas Mundy Peterson. He was my maternal great-grandfather's uncle, and it was 155 years ago today that he cast his vote. If he were alive at this moment, I think he would tell us to remain encouraged, to not give up, to stay strong, and to continue to vote and to fight for what is right. I thank you, and you have a blessed day.
You gave me my hand.
Over the years, the city of Perth Amboy has honored Peterson's legacy through school programs, community gatherings, and public celebrations, a powerful reminder of the unity and pride his story inspires.
Ears, I can hear your voice so clear. I can hear the cry of the sinner man.